Welcome to the Indiana Basketball Weekly Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. I'm your co-host, Mike Goodpaster. Right now I want to welcome in my other co-host, 1981 national champion, Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
Hey, you know what, Mike? I'll tell you what. After tonight's game and the showing in the first game, I'm kind of proud to get that kind of endorsement now or introduction. He's looking good. They haven't played anybody yet. I get that, but I'm not worried about who they're playing. I'm worried about how well I think they're playing up to their potential. And right now, given the fact we're playing a lot of freshmen and we're trying to go a 9, 10, 11, 12-man deep roster to get some things going on, I think Indiana's playing up to their potential very well right now. And we continue to see some really strong signs across the board that lead me to believe that this is going to be a very good basketball team. Maybe not a Duke yet, but who knows until we play somebody. But I like what I'm seeing so far. What do you think?
I think this. Indiana beats Montana State tonight, 80-35. Indiana took control early on the strength of its defense, which didn't happen against anybody last year.
Yeah.
The Hoosiers limited Montana State to just 19 points in the first half, built a 24-point halftime lead, actually played even better defense in the second half, and Indiana scored the first 8 points in the second half to open up a 51-19 lead. From there, the lead ballooned all the way to 40 on Al Durham's layup at the 12-16 mark in the second half. And as stifling as Indiana's defense was, the Hoosiers' offense was also efficient. And we talked last year all the time about how it wasn't efficient, but Indiana had 22 assists, 32 field goals, scored 1.12 points per possession.
Per possession.
And the thing that stuck out to me is a guy who hasn't looked great up to this point. Juwan Morgan, I think, asserted himself early, scored all 14 of his points in the first half. He was aggressive at the rim. He was efficient, 6 for 6 from the field. He also had a team-high 11 rebounds. And, Juwan Morgan's a big part of this. And the thing that stood out to me is when I was talking to you during the game was the fact that the way Indiana's three guards have played, maybe it's time to think about going with the three-guard lineup more.
I'm enamored with our guard play. But before we get there, I'm really thrilled to see Juwan get into the game. Again, I don't know why he wasn't getting into the game, but he's into the game now. Hits all 6 of his free field goals, 6 for 6. Again, I'd like to see Juwan taking double-digit shots. I think that's going to be critical. But 11 rebounds, and on top of that, he had 4 assists. He tied for the lead. Well, actually, Devontae had 5 assists, but he had 4 assists, being the second biggest assist giver on the team, and leading the team in scoring. It just continues to show the unselfishness of this basketball team and the way they're willing to all give it up, and no matter who's doing what. And I think that's just a mark, and it's a culture that Archie's building in this program that's just going to make this team good in critical, tough games, because you're not going to be able to guard one person. This team right now is 9 deep.
I think it's more than 9 deep.
Well, I think it's 9 deep and you don't fall off. I think it's 12 deep, but you lose something at 9, and maybe 10, 11, and 12. Maybe not.
I think it's 9 deep if Deron Davis can continue to get back to where he was before his injury last year.
Yeah, I agree with that. But still, you're 10 deep, and that almost can become a little bit of a problem for you. Then you start not being able to get minutes, or you start working too hard to get minutes. And that's probably the bigger mistake that can happen with a team is you go 10 deep, and now you're all of a sudden feeling, I got to get guys minutes. And you just have to realize your minutes will be doled out in practice, and the ultimate goal is to win ball games and put yourself in a position to win the conference championship and then to make a run in the dance in March. So if we get over that hurdle, which we don't know enough about Archie to know whether he can get over that hurdle or not, I don't have any reason to believe he can't. But 10 deep right now that's a good thing for this basketball team, because he can experiment, he can put in different lineups, and you build confidence with a lot of players. But our guard play, I'm enamored with them. These guys, Fennessy, Langford, and Devontae are just clicking. There was a play in the second half where Devontae threw a lob pass from outside the three-point arc to Romeo, caught it on the fly, and had a massive dunk at the play. I mean, the perfect timing between those two. You think the guys have played together a long time. It was some selfishness of not taking the three and willing to give it up and take the easy play and make the big play. I just don't see any selfishness between these guards. And tonight, I think we saw our inside defense match our perimeter defense. If we do that, we become much, much, much more difficult to beat.
Yeah, and I think about Devontae Green, the one difference you see this year is he seems much more comfortable and he's not pressing, he's not pushing things. Last year, it looked like he was looking over his shoulder. He was afraid to make a mistake because if he did, he would be pulled out of the game. He was right last year. But I think that, and Collin Hartman, who's usually on the show with us tonight, couldn't be with us tonight because he's on his way back from the game. He'll be with us on the next show to preview the games coming up this week. But when you look at this, I think there's a lot to be said for that. I mean, he looks comfortable in his own skin now, where last year he didn't.
Well, he played 23 minutes, which is second only to Tennessee's 26 minutes. So he was he and Langford tied for the second most minutes playing. So obviously, Coach Miller's got confidence in him. To me, and this is kind of a stretch thing to say, I get it. He's playing the same kind of ball early on that Isaiah Thomas played. Now, to say he's as good as Isaiah, no way. I'm not going to make that claim, and I wouldn't say that, but he's playing the same type of aggressive, I'm a point guard, I'm out here to lead and to take chances play that Isaiah Thomas did. And if Coach Miller doesn't start to try and stymie that or squash that, because he did, what did he have turnovers? He had, Devontae only had 3 turnovers. That's not bad. He led the team in turnovers, though, so that's something you can point out. But he did have 5 assists. He led the team in assists, too. He's making aggressive mistakes, and anytime a player, and Coach Knight used to always say, if you're making mistakes for a good reason, I'll accept that. What I won't accept is making mistakes for a dumb reason. And so far, I haven't seen Devontae make mistakes for dumb reasons yet. It's not to say we didn't see it last year. He's not capable of it, but I haven't seen it yet. Right now, my 2 favorite players in this basketball team are Pfister and Devontae Green. I think those are the 2 hidden gems that we've got that we were maybe counting on. We were counting on Langford. We were counting on Morgan. We were counting on McRoberts. Tennessee, we thought we knew was going to be good. But I think we were uncertain about Devontae, and Pfister is just proving to be a real welcome addition to the inside play of this game, taking some pressure off of Deron Davis, letting him get healthy and get developed. Because, Davis only played 11 minutes. Pfister had 15. They're splitting that time. If you get 2 players of that size, you can split and keep them in the game for, 26, 30 minutes of a 40-minute basketball game. You're going to be able to play perimeter and post defense as well as you're playing perimeter defense.
Yeah, and I think another guy that gets lost in the shuffle a lot of times, and he's one that we didn't really talk about him either a lot early on in the preseason, and that would be Justin Smith. And Justin Smith was 6 for 8 shooting.
Started tonight, yeah.
Yeah, scored 13 points. And I think everything you hear about Justin Smith from coming out of practices is that he is really developing into an outstanding player also.
Yeah, he had a couple of monster dunks and going the hole hard. He goes to the hole as hard as any player on his basketball team. And, I think we have a good problem here right now, Mike, and we'll see. And we'll talk about future games coming up, but we have more talent to talk about than we really have time to really talk about them without just heaping, sugar loads of praise on everybody. But Justin came back, had a great game, got the start. You're right, made significant contributions, second leading scorer. I'd like to see him be a little more stronger on the defensive boards, or on the boards, like 2 rebounds. But that'll come. But if you're keeping Pfister and Deron Davis healthy, and, maybe his rebounding is not going to be as important. So, yeah, he's definitely a welcome addition.
Yeah, and, of course, Romeo Langford played great. This entire team is playing well right now. The question is this. Is this team this good, or are they this good because they're playing Montana State and Chicago State? But the one thing, before you answer that I will say is this. Even against teams like this last year, Indiana did not look this way. They are executing at a very high level, which is why they're blowing these teams out. Where before, if they blew a team out that wasn't very good, it was because they were just athletically that much more gifted. Now it's just they're athletically that much more gifted, but they're also playing sound fundamental basketball.
Being a football guy, for an observation like that coming from you, I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed that you have the capabilities of making that kind of observation, being a guy who coaches offensive line and quarterbacks, two of the dumbest positions in the game.
Yeah, the smartest players on a football field are the offensive linemen. Everybody knows that. They are. They're the guys that show up every day. They work their ass off. And, tonight we had a football practice because we play for a national championship next week. And it was like 38 degrees, and it was freezing. And the only people on my team that weren't crying were the offensive linemen and the quarterback. Everybody else was like, it's cold, I'm freezing. And the offensive linemen don't care. They just want to get in the mud and wrestle. And the quarterback's yelling at everybody to quit being a baby. So
there you go. In answer to your question, is this a fact of who we're playing or what? I think right now, what great coaches do and what Knight did is in this point in the season right now, you're not worried about your opponents because you are playing crap teams, let's say, and we know that. We get that, but it's a great opportunity. But what I think Coach Miller is looking for more than anything, as some of you alluded to in your eloquent assessment, was that how well is Indiana playing up to its own potential? Right now, I'd say they are meeting their own potential. Probably right now, in the first two games we've seen, they're exceeding their own potential. And what impressed me was we complained of a post-defense weakness and an overall defensive weakness. We saw the dramatic improvement in that tonight. Now, I put that all on Indiana, and I think Indiana's challenging itself to get better, not worrying about who they play. Now, what's our first big test coming up, Mike? Do we have it? When's our first big test?
Marquette is the next game.
Marquette. Okay, but we play Marquette at home. Is Marquette that good, or is that a name team?
Marquette's a good team. They beat the University of Maryland at Baltimore County. Of course, we all know who they are. They beat them 67-42 in their opener on Tuesday night. And
that's my favorite team. That's my favorite team because they beat Kyle Guy.
The leading scorer in Lawrence
They
Central
beat Kyle
history.
Guy.
Yeah,
I don't like Kyle Guy.
Lawrence history. See, that's just mean because Kyle Guy is just a kid. And
I don't have any problem personally with Kyle Guy. I don't like the fact that he tried to rip off my basketball scoring record at Lawrence Central.
He did rip it off.
And I should get over that. I really should get over that.
But he did rip it off. He did. He successfully stole your record.
He did. Modern era leading scorer. What am I? 1977 grad.
I'm
not a modern era player.
That was 41 years ago, Steve. 41 years ago.
All right, move on. Let's get back to
you brought it up. It was a long time ago, Steve.
It was. In a galaxy far, far away.
41 years ago. I mean, the Russians were still communists. There was still a Berlin Wall. All in the Family was the #1 show. And most people didn't even have a VCR. And
all right, I'm over
you
it.
had a rotary cell phone. Do you want me to keep going, or are you good?
No, I vented. Okay. I'm done.
All right, go ahead.
Get over it. I like Kyle Guy as a person. I know his family, and he's a good kid. That's no problem. I wish them to get to the second round of the preliminaries of the NCAA championships this year. I hope they get past.
You wish them to make it to the NIT Final Four.
I don't care where they go. But no, Indiana.
They can go to hell for all you care. Just say it, Steve.
Yeah. I think Marquette, I don't know enough about Marquette to know. They're going to come into Bloomington. Indiana feels very comfortable there. They've only played there. I'm going to let you address this because you brought this up in our phone conversation while the game was going on. I think the big first test is Arkansas. And go ahead and explain why we both think that.
Well, Arkansas, you got the barn down there. It's a tough place to play. It always has been. I really think Marquette might be just as good, if not better, than Arkansas, though.
But they play them at home. I think Indiana wins by double digits in that game against Marquette.
I hope they do, but we don't know.
I think
we
they do.
haven't seen them play anybody yet. And
right. I still think they do.
Well, you can think that all you want, but we're both homers.
Well, but you see, I see the game a little differently than you do. I see it as a player, and you see it kind of as a football guy who is smart and knows a lot about basketball. As a player, what I'm measuring is how well are these guys playing as to how good I think they are, not who the opponents are playing are. Who they're playing is irrelevant at this time of the season. It's how well are they executing offensively and defensively with minimizing mistakes and not creating or taking advantage of opportunities that are presented to them. Indiana is executing very well without making an overabundance of mistakes. How many turnovers they have as a team?
14.
Turnovers, 14. Okay. That's not bad considering how many players you're playing. my God, they had 13, 14 kids in the game. So
18.
They
actually put in 17 guys, I think, or 18 guys.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm not going to go down and take time to count it, but 14 turnovers is not bad, and they're matching it with 22 assists. So their assist to turnover ratio, as long as that's positive, I'm okay with that. Rebounding wise, 40 to 35. They're out rebounding teams. They're executing good. And that's an internal thing that they talk about in their own locker room. And right now, what they need to do is create that culture in their own locker room and not really worry about what's going on in the other locker room until games start counting for conference standings or seedings in the tournament.
Yeah, and this is where they start counting because you're going to play Marquette and Arkansas back-to-back. Marquette has two stud players in Sam Hauser and Marcus Howard. I mean, I think Hauser's the best all-around player. Howard is one of the best scorers I've seen in the last 5 or 6 years in college basketball, which is why I think this could be a tough game. I think Hauser is the MVP here. He's the complete player on this team. He'll rack up heavy minutes, where Howard, on the other hand, he's a terrific scorer. But I think defenses, IU's going to try to lock onto him, and we're going to find out about the defense here. I agree with you. Yeah. I think IU should win this game. They should win it comfortably. But what we're going to find out is if this defense is really that good or if the first two teams we played are really that bad.
Right. Well, I think you're going to find the teams we played were that bad. I mean, Marquette and Arkansas are going to present different challenges that we haven't had the opportunity to explore yet.
Could both very well be tournament teams. And the Sam Hauser kid is the one he's a hell of a player because, my second team's Xavier. I saw Marquette play a fair amount last year. But I think he's the most important player because he's the central cog in their machine on offense. He makes everyone around him better. His versatility enables him to score, dish, contribute off the ball on the offensive side. He's not a great defender. And I think if I'm Indiana and I'm playing them, I'm going to go right at Sam Hauser on offense and try to wear him out to take away from his defense.
Exactly.
Marquette is a team that, from what I remember last year, and I don't think this has changed too much, they are heavy on big players, but they're short on guards. Now, the guards they have are both very good, but there's no depth there. This is a thing where I've heard you and Collin talk a lot in the past about, well, they're going to go with 8 guys. And maybe 9 guys. I think this is where, overall, if you have a team that can go 10 or 12 deep, and everybody is on the same page, that the most important thing is not, am I going to be a lottery pick in the NBA draft? The important thing is to win it all. This is one of those games where if you play 10 to 12 guys, you could totally wear this Marquette team out. And I think you're going to have a close game for a half. But if they go through 10 men and keep running at them and just wear these two studs out, Hauser and Howard, I think they pull away and win this game from anywhere 15 to 20 points. If they don't do that and they don't attack these guys and don't play good defense, this is a team that could beat Indiana.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. And I look at it, again, from a different perspective. As to me, in this preseason mentality, it's another opportunity to create another challenge for this basketball team, being our own. And that's now we have to play team defense against a very talented basketball player. And now let's see if we can do that. Let's see if our help side defense and everything, it's another opportunity for Coach Miller to just assess what he's got and what's going on and see where his strengths and weaknesses lie. What I'm hoping to see is that we do help side defense, we do post defense, we keep the guard pressure up, we wear the guards down, as you said, but yet we're doing it as a team and not trying to play one-on-one defense and just stick somebody like a Langford or a Finney on this guy and try and wear him down individually. I want to see it done with the entire process of our entire guard system and with help from our big guys inside, that if he does get by because we're taking risks trying to guard him or trying to wear him down, we're going to shut him down as he tries to come down the lane, which the kid's going to try and do. So another great opportunity. So there's always not just an absolute silliness to us playing not as strong a team during the season. It creates in the first 3 or 4 games opportunities for coaches to evaluate, to take a look at their combinations, to take a look at their strengths and weaknesses, and then to build on those without risk of maybe losing a game. This is the biggest risk we've had of losing a game yet is Marquette, but I don't think we're going to lose the game. And I've seen consistency in all three of the games I've seen Indiana play, and I've seen all 120 minutes of Indiana playing so far. And so I have not seen a lack of consistency. I've seen a lack of deficiency a little bit in some areas, but I've seen improvement in all those areas. Consistency and deficiency are two different things. All right, consistency means you have the ability to do it, you're just not doing it regularly. Deficiency means you're not good at it yet, but they're understanding where they're weak and they're getting better at it. So I'm seeing an improvement in deficiency and a maintaining of consistency. I think we're going to be fine going into the Big Ten season.
All right, I still think this could be a tough game. I think when you look
at sure, it's going to be a tougher game.
Now, I mean, no, this is a tough game. It's not a tougher game. I'm telling you, if the Indiana Hoosiers come out and beat Marquette by 20 or 30 points, I think you have right now a legitimate top 5 team. I think Marquette, when you look at them, I think they've only made the playoffs or the NCAA tournament once out of the last four years. There's a lot of pressure on head coach Steve Wojciechowski. They're playing in a new arena, the same arena that the Milwaukee Bucks play in. There's a lot expected from this team. They're huge up front. I think the key to this game is to be able to attack their guards. But, I mean, Marquette's going to rely on 6'10 senior Matt Held, 6'9 sophomore Theo John, Ed Morrow, who's a 6'8" guy, all in the post. Morrow is eligible after sitting out last season following his transfer from Nebraska. And at Nebraska, he damn near averaged a double-double. He was 9.4 points, 7.5 rebounds. Like I said, they're not deep at guard, but I think this is a game where you've got to come out and you've got to establish Juwan Morgan in the low post from the get-go. I think the guards, we're going to tear them up, but if we could come down and Juwan Morgan can assert himself and be aggressive at the start of the game, you could take the heart out of this Marquette team right away because the strength for them is underneath. And if you could come in and establish right away that we're better than you there too, this game's going to be over quickly. I think Fitzner, Deron Davis, all these guys are huge here. And this is a team where I think you come out in that 3-guard lineup, you attack them, you attack the basket, you get the ball into Morgan, you get the ball into Fitzner, and you set the tone. Because last year, this team didn't do that often. This team didn't impose their will. In 1981, second half of that season, you guys imposed your will on teams, whether it was at the start of the first half or the start of the second half. It happened there. If you remember LSU, you guys are down 10 at the half in the Final Four, and you came out. Isaiah Thomas imposed the will of that team. He set the example by being the leader. That's what I want to see Morgan do. I know he's not a guard, but he's the guy down there that can just set the precedent that this is a different team right now, and that needs to be done quickly for this team to be able to do what we think they can do.
Outstanding. Great observation. The only thing I'll add to that is I think we're in a better position now to make Marquette alter their play because our perimeter guard play is so strong right now. We're in a better position to make them alter their mentality as opposed to us. I don't want to see us alter our mentality.
It's not altering it because this is the thing. For this team to be
they're
successful,
going to have to change theirs. I mean, they've got to guard our guards.
This is the thing now.
We're too strong.
This is the thing now, Steve. What you're missing here is this. I think, even with these great guards, a physical, aggressive Juwan Morgan makes this one of the best teams in the country. I mean, you can have the guards run around doing whatever, but Juwan Morgan is still the guy that's going to get them where they need to be. Because in the end, I mean, you could have a bad night shooting, but Juwan Morgan's still going to be able to turn around and hit a 3-foot shot. And I just want to see him be aggressive and impose his will on the game because that's something that I don't think he has consistently done, which is why I think he's not in the NBA yet because he doesn't have that mentality yet. And we saw that in those preseason games. I know they're just preseason games, but you got to set the tone early on, and you got to have a killer instinct. This team didn't have that last year. I think this team's going to have it. I mean, this team could shoot the ball. Last year, like I said, I didn't get home because of football practice until like 13 minutes left in the game. In those 13 minutes, I probably saw more made threes than I remember from all of last year. The only thing that concerned me from this game was still the free throw shooting was 10 for 19.
Yeah, and I don't know how you fix that. That's a mental thing, not a physical thing. Because you can shoot free throws to your blue in the face. You just got to get up there with more confidence to hit free throws. But, I think we get different challenges in the next two games. To me, I'm more interested in what we do with Arkansas because we have to go to Arkansas and play off our court, not away and away from our fans. And that, to me, that gives me a little bit more information than what I'm going to get out of Marquette. Marquette's going to make us play harder and play smarter because they are going to be a much better team than what we faced so far. But we're still doing it in the confines of our own environment and doing it on our own court with our own fans cheering us on. That's important. It's important that Marquette is tough. Arkansas, to me, presents a tougher challenge because they may not quite be as good as Marquette, but they're going to come fired up because we're probably going to go into that game 3-0. The bullseye's going to start getting on our back a little bit now. We may be ranked by then if we beat Marquette, and we're going to do it in their arena, in their field house. I see there's more benefit to be gained from the Arkansas game, but let's get by the Marquette game first and not get ahead of ourselves right now.
Well,
so I'm with you 100%. Go ahead.
I think Marquette is by far the tougher game now. I mean, when you look at Arkansas, they don't have a single guard on the roster who's played a minute.
They're the tougher opponent. They're the tougher opponent. I don't think it's a tougher game.
They're the tougher game.
Yeah.
They're the tougher game,
Steve.
Marquette is one of the top 30 teams in the country. I don't think Arkansas is going to the NCAA tournament this year. They're going to end up at best in the NIT. I mean, they have no guard play. None. They've got one kid who's ever played Division I basketball at all. And playing the Indiana Hoosiers, that's going to spell a major problem, I think, for them.
Well, that's a good opportunity for them to put a brand on their program as well, too. So I like the next two tests. I think they're both games we can win if we play like we've been playing so far. They're not going to take us like Duke. I don't know if we can beat Duke, even if we're playing the best we can play. Duke just is probably right now that good. We don't know for sure because they played one game.
But how about this, Steve, real quick? What we talked about, if you played 10 or 12 guys against Duke, I mean, Duke
might run them
basically
down.
5 guys. I mean, why can't you play 10 or 12 guys and just pressure the crap out of them on the perimeter and just get after them? I mean, there's no reason why. This team has as much talent as any team I've seen, depth-wise.
From Indiana for a long time.
No, depth-wise, anywhere in the country right now, I think it's hard to find a team as deep as this. But
I don't know if I can make that assessment.
Duke's top 5 players are much better than Indiana's. So if their top 5 players are much better than ours, but we are a lot better from 6 to 10, I mean, your chances there is if you can
your opportunities
and you attack them.
Your opportunities improve immensely.
Yeah.
But I like the next 2 games. I really think they're great developmental games for us. It doesn't matter if we win or lose them in anything other than our own egos. We don't want to lose them. We don't want to get setbacks right now. But it's not a death threat or a death blow if we lose either one of these 2 games because they're meaningless preseason games basically still.
No,
but
they're not meaningless. You want to make the NCAA tournament. That's the end goal.
Okay, you're right. I look at everything as conference championships and things like that. So, but anyway, I like the challenges we're facing. It's 2 better challenges than we've had, 2 unique challenges. We're playing a better team at home. We're going to play a little bit lesser team, but we're playing them on the road. Those were 2 great opportunities for us to prepare better for playing Duke down the road and getting into the Big Ten season. So I like the development of this basketball team. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I thought they improved immensely tonight over Chicago State defensively, and I love the fact that I continue to see the unselfish play. Again, we put 4 kids in double figures again, and nobody really scoring over 15 points. Morgan Lewis with 14. And we got balanced scoring across the board. Deron Davis comes up with 8. One more bucket. He's the 5th kid in double figures. And, we're good. The rest of them probably don't hit double figures because they're not getting enough minutes to play. Pfister gets 15 minutes and scores 6 points. Give him another 5 minutes, he may put 2 more buckets in. He's in double. There's tremendous opportunity for balanced scoring here, and I love that. I love the sharing of the basketball. I love that we're outpacing assists over turnovers. Everything right now is good. I love our defensive transition more so than I did against Chicago State. It's not great yet, but it's better. I'm really pleased with how Juwan engaged in this game, more so than we've seen him do in the first 2 games. Let's just go take on Marquette Wednesday, see what happens.
All right. We will definitely do that, or they will do that. We will be watching.
They will do that.
Yeah. All right, guys. I want to remind you, you can catch me and Steve on Survive in Advance Monday through Friday, noon, live on thegrizzlytruth.net. You can also hear it anytime you want, though. We did a show today previewing all the football games, college football and NFL football coming up this weekend, so make sure you check that out.
And I got to say, you made some idiot predictions on that show today, too.
Yeah.
So, just so you know.
What were the idiot predictions?
I'm not going to go over them because this is a basketball show.
Because you don't even know. See?
No,
Steve,
go look.
Just stop. Just stop, Steve. God.
Go tell people to listen to the show and then do a poll.
I did.
Did Mike Davis?
I did.
Did Mike Goodpaster make idiot predictions?
Don't call me Mike Davis.
Well, that's about the way his idiot coaching was about as good as your idiot predictions.
Well, you know what? If you were Steve Alford doing this show with me right now to put you down, I'd call you Steve Risley. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this show up for tonight.
That would be an insult to me.
Made me cough. I laughed.
I may be the only Steve in Indiana more beloved than Steve Alford.
I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that and get back to you on it.
Yeah, Steve Green, Steve Isle.
Yeah, Steve Isle, definitely. Steve Green,
Steve Isle, definitely. Steve Green, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on there somewhere.
Steve Elmore.
But, hey, we do want to take a moment, and if anybody's still listening from Indiana, congratulate Brian Evans, who tomorrow night, or actually tonight, it's Friday night, yes, he's inducted into the Indiana University Sports Hall of Fame tonight. Number 34 gets represented again.
The way I looked at it was Indiana University Sports Hall of Fame?
No, it's every other 34 that gets in.
Yeah.
You see,
is that because every other 34 is good enough to get in?
Yeah, because it was Schlunt got in, and then whoever wore 34 before Green didn't get in, and then Green gets in.
Oh, my God.
And then
Schlunt
I don't
wore
get in.
34, and then they let you wear it?
Yeah, I know.
Damn.
Can you believe that? But
I
Schlunt
thought Knight
gets
usually
in,
stopped stuff like that. You should have been wearing, like, number 99.
He actually handed me 33, but before we got in the locker room, I took Eric Kirshner had 34 on his chair. I swapped jerseys with him before we could even knew what happened. So I kind of manifested that thing on my own.
Well, why did you want 33?
Kind of like getting into the Hall of Fame, you know. So, but anyway, Schlunt got in at 34. The next guy that wore, I don't know who it was, but he didn't get in. And then Greeno gets in at 34. I don't get in at 34. Brian Evans gets in at 34. And I don't think anybody's worn 34 yet after Brian. So, I think, so therefore, whoever gets it next is going to be a schlep like me. And the next guy that gets it after the schlep will get into the Hall of Fame too. So that's an odd and even thing right there. I caught the wrong end of that deal. That's all right.
All right.
That's all right.
Well,
my picture's hanging on the wall up with the other 4 championship teams. I'm happy.
Okay. As long as Steve's happy, we're all happy. All right, guys. We're going to wrap the show up. I want to remind everybody you can hear all of our shows. Whether it's the Indiana Basketball Weekly, NFL Pick'em Show, no matter what it is. You can hear us on thegruelingtruth.net, but also on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher. Wherever you find sports podcasts, you'll find The Grueling Truth. So for Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.